All right.
Hilarious.
So consider this as a small town, like a rural village, and the school is comprised of three main buildings. The main being the classroom, and then there's an attached kitchen building and a detached little shed that is actually the witch's shed.
Where she puts, and she's been punished. Bad
That's also where the
witch.
library is.
Bad witch, go to your shed. Sorry. Go on.
So you all will be meeting in the classroom to start, and uh, the plot here is that you're here for Sunday schooling, which can be just extra lessons, or it could be that like you were in classes and you needed remedial lessons, or you were bad and you need detention. I don't really care how you want to think about it. It's up to you.
I'll try to
Maybe your
just
parents
get
are
off
busy
the
and they just
phone.
needed to drop you off to have daycare, because that's an option as well.
All
I
right.
kind of laugh about that. We came down the mountain, and I was told to stay here. Holly. It's like, but I'm okay, whatever, weirdo. All right.
Um, I would just say, I don't know, Mercy's parents probably brought her into town so that she could learn magic.
Okay.
um, so how does the town then view, I guess, the fact that there's magic here? Is it known or is it
Yeah, it's known. Eshra is commissioned, let's say, by the village to perform specific tasks sometimes, but when she's not needed, she teaches some classes and manages the library. So
okay?
this is just run of the mill uh, work for her in this
Gotcha.
situation. All right, so I think you guys have an idea of what you're doing, so let's just begin right in. You are in the classroom. There are several desks strewn about, chalkboard up front. There's a desk table kind of thing by the chalkboard, which currently has four fabric-ish bags, some sort of like leather. I'm bad at describing materials, so
A little satchel, little leather
there
satchel.
there are some satchels up front. As you
Can I
take
have
your
that
seats
sandwich?
and get ready for the lesson, you see Eshra walk in from the direction of the witch's shed, and she's just got like this tired face on her. This is early in the morning, by the way. I don't know if I said that. Good morning, class. I hope we're all ready to learn. Today we'll be going over. What are we doing today?
I'm excited to learn whatever you're ready to teach.
Good look at Mercy. I think she lost her train of thought.
What am I teaching today? I've forgotten.
That's. Are, are you sure you don't need some sleep? You look a little haggard.
I had sleep.
Everything okay?
Right, right. Witchcraft. That's what we're doing today. Lucky me. All right, class. The first principle of witchcraft is preparedness. I don't know about you all, but I haven't eaten yet today. So to start out, we'll be making breakfast.
Ooh,
Make a food item to share with the group. Feel free to use some magic on the way. For some extra fun, why don't you make a family specialty or something? And she's going to point you towards the direction of what I'm colloquially calling the witchin'.
The witch.
Which
Yes.
is just a
Burn.
standard kitchen with some extra beebles and baubles for witchcraft, set aside in a corner.
Yes.
Off to it
Beebles.
then. Don't worry about cleaning up just yet. Let's just get some food in us first.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
We get up and move into the kitchen.
I was gonna say, Mercy excitedly jumps up and takes off for it. Takes off.
To have that kind of energy at that age. I say as I'm only like 3 years older.
Oh, to be young.
Goes follows along.
All right, apprentices. We have our first check now. For Fledge Witch, checks difficulties are equal to their round numbers, which is fun, unless they did otherwise. So this is round one. There will be one check, uh, which means the difficulty is one. And the advice from the witch was make something that's a family specialty or something.
Okay.
So it is up to you to pick a craft to roleplay what you're going to be doing, and then to make that roll.
All right. So I'm guessing housecraft would make the most sense here. But I don't think potion craft would necessarily apply to breakfast.
Well, I would say it depends on what you're making, and you could
Yep.
justify almost any craft
Ah,
with enough thinking.
Hmm.
she's going to make because I like the idea. She's going to make um like a magical almost juice kind of potion. Something that kind of helps give you some extra energy and stuff. If that works.
Okay.
Using potion craft.
All right. So, for the check, we're going to just go over the amount of dice you get to roll here. You're going to take your potion craft level. Um,
Okay, so 2.
if you role played the check, you get +1. I'm going to say you did. If you want to add any extra flavor, feel free to after we tally up. You don't have any hearts, so don't worry about that. And did you follow the witch's advice? I'm going to say you probably did, because it sounds like you know what you're doing and that you've probably made this before, and it doesn't sound like standard Requus item to me, so that sounds great.
All right. So 3d6. Ah, excuse me.
Oh, you have 2 in Potioncraft?
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
46 then.
4d6.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I roleplayed in.
Yep.
How do you? Here, wait.
It's /R.
/R, not. Yeah, I did it wrong. But also I can just do this.
Fucking butter.
All right.
All right.
That is 3 successes, which is more than enough. Tell me how you make it.
So it it's gonna seem a little odd because she starts out, she runs into the kitchen area and starts grabbing I'm gonna say some milk and stuff and things that seem like okay, that makes sense for a break or not milk. Let's say she gets some let's say oranges and stuff. And all kinds of things that make sense at first, but then she also starts going out and getting some grass. like an assortment of just it becomes increasingly what the heck is going on? And eventually she comes back and starts mixing it all together into this potion that actually tastes pretty good.
Wheatgrass? No.
Sounds like it. Wheatgrass and
Yeah.
juice.
Mm.
All
But it's
right.
definitely one of those of like, all right, wait, what? Like, what? Like,
What are you doing?
what's this kid
Mercy,
up
what?
to?
Why? Why are you going out? Why are you coming back with grass? What are you doing? Like, Mercy? Mercy. In her own little world.
Yep.
As long as you come back, that's fine with me.
Mercy, where you go? Okay.
All right.
All right, Rosalie.
Okay, so we probably need something a little hearty, a little warming, because, well, where she usually spends a lot of her time, it's very cold. Um, Sad as it was, I was thinking about carrots. And I'm like, no, no, we're not playing into the stereotype. How about pumpkin? Pumpkin is great. So it's gonna be like a pumpkin and sausage soup,
Okay.
which sounds a little weird, but this
Mm,
recipe I'm looking at actually looks kind of good. I just don't know if I'd
yep.
ever be able
I've
to
had
make
that
it.
kind of soup with sweet potatoes. It's great, so I imagine with pumpkin, it's also great.
I was gonna say, actually, I'm not big on soup, but I could imagine that potentially being good. So,
um, okay,
I mean, just speaking from
so
personal experience.
no, it says works with pumpkin or sweet potatoes. So yes.
Yeah, exactly.
hmm.
Okay. So we're going to go through the motions of preparing all the fun stuff like the butter and the sausage and all that other stuff. And I'll look at Mercy and it's like, do you want to help cook? Ask her if she
Yeah.
wants to help. Okay, here, cook the sausage. We're chopping onions and looking for stuff. And oh, we have heavy cream and there's the brown sugar and that's a lot of chicken stocks. So all right. Um, I don't know if this would be considered housecraft or potion craft. Probably potion craft.
And
I would
Mercy
say you
is
can
very excited.
choose.
Oh,
You could
sorry.
even invoke Toolcraft. I don't care. Like, it just depends on how you're going to go about cooking the thing.
Like normal.
Right. So you could say like, oh, Toolcraft. I'm using the kitchen utensils. You could say
Okay.
Housecraft. This is meals are part of like keeping a house. You could say
Yep.
Potioncraft. I'm making a stew.
I'll go with my specialty housecraft
All
because
right.
yes, it's something I would want to make for everybody else, and you got to take care of yourself, and it's warming, and it will make you feel good when you eat it.
All right. Perfect. So take your Housecraft, add one for roleplay, and add one for following the witch's advice.
So 3 dice,
Which I'm just gonna say is that the
no, four
book
dice.
very much says that the witch's advice is use this craft, and I don't like that, so I'm making the witch's advice not that.
So my housecraft +1 +1, so that's 4. Okay. Hey,
All
I
right,
succeed.
you get two successes. You only need one for round one.
Oh, that's true. I got
By
one
the way, a
success.
success is four or greater. I don't know if everyone knows
Oh,
that.
so 2. Okay. I
Yep.
always thought it was 5 or greater, but
Nope.
okay.
Yep. It's four or greater.
So 2, yay!
Perfect. So let me go back to my page. You both made some breakfast material, a little dining area outside, like
Also, what
by the
this calls
kitchen.
for is crusty bread, so nice, warm, crusty bread, too.
Okay, I'm pretty sure the school has some of that lying around or something.
Like around. This is stale!
It might be. Eshra has brewed up some coffee via potion craft for the group. That's her contribution, and you all start to dig in.
All right.
Yeah. So while everyone is enjoying their food, through spoonfuls of soup. She's going to start quizzing the group on some knowledge. So, who can tell me the main differences between witchcraft and wizardry? Any ideas?
Uh, no.
Well, it would have to. It's like, well, you're not chanting spells and I'm trying to think, because wizards tend to be flashy. We're not exactly flashy.
You've got the right idea. There are three main things we like to differentiate when it comes to these types of magical uh, manipulations. The first is preparation. Witches spend more time preparing for their spells, going through processes to form the materials correctly, whereas wizards need to only have the materials necessary and the will to cast. The second is cast time itself. A wizard's incantation begins when the action starts and ends on the wizard's last command. Witches begin casting spells long before the actual effect has taken place, but once set in motion, casting becomes unnecessary. And the last is energy. So a witch's spell channels the natural energies to perform an action, meaning a low cost to the user, whereas a wizard's spell channels their own energy to impart their will on their own surroundings, taking a heavy cost to the user, but not requiring all the preparation and forethought that a witch needs.
Hmm.
These main differences are what separates our incantations, enchantments, and everything from a wizard's flashy and quick spellcasting adaptability. And
Hmm.
we're going to skip to when the meal ends because I need to go somewhere. All right. So we'll finish our meals and then she says, "Perfect. Now let's take our dishes to the kitchen and we'll work on our next task."
All right.
So the kitchen is in
So,
quite a disarray. It sounds like Rosalie used a lot of things to make that stew.
thanks.
No worries. I
I,
mean,
I
it
will
just
clean
sounded
up.
involved, right?
It was very involved.
So, tell me, how would a wizard clean this place up?
Basically, speak a word and things would happen.
Right. So they would channel their own energy to cause the dishes to clean themselves or something. How would a witch clean this up?
By hand, like a normal person.
Not incorrect.
We could use, um, I mean, you could maybe use a little bit of magic, but wouldn't that be unnecessary?
It could be unnecessary. Cleaning it up by hand would completely function. Um, in general, a witch would have enchanted tools in order to do the chores for them, in this case. However, the school doesn't like it when I leave lasting enchantments on the ones here. So that's not an option. And casting an enchantment or a temporary enchantment on the tools in order to clean this place up would require more time and energy than just doing it by hand. And that's, she's going to open her bag and start rummaging through it. What she finds, what she's looking for, as she brings it out, it's a small stack of cards. She'll fan them out and pick one in particular. Where these come in. This
Tarot?
is a spell card, she states, as the card disappears from her hand with a glow. By embedding a spell into a portable structure, A witch can quickly perform the effects of their spells when the need arises, almost like throwing a potion, but for a much larger array of spells. She gestures towards the kitchen, where the dishes have started cleaning themselves. It would have taken more time and effort to go through the process of casting this enchantment than to just wash the dishes by hand, but with a spell card, I can expend a little energy and not have to do either at the moment.
Ooh. Mercy's like trying to get as close to look at the card as possible.
It has disappeared already.
Oh.
Yeah, a spell card consumes itself when it's used, unfortunately. But it allows a witch to obtain the benefits of wizardry without the downside of high energy costs. The catch? They're rather meticulous to craft and require even more preparation. And that is our next task. Let's move to the classroom.
But what about the kitchen?
The kitchen is cleaning itself up.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Sorry.
Alright. Yeah, she invoked a spell card and started explaining what spell cards are.
Alright.
That brings us to our lesson. Today, you'll be writing 2 spell cards. I will guide you through the inscription process, but the spells you choose are up to you. I suggest you stick to simple spells and try to use 2 different spells, or 2 spells of different crafts. She gestures towards the set of small bags you saw earlier. Inside these, you will find ink, a quill, several blank cards, and other tools you will need to write a spell card. Take one, and let's get to work.
Alright.
So, we have reached a special check, because why not? Round 2 will have 2 checks. Players must declare both spells and crafts before making either check. The witch has expended 1 positive heart. Which I don't know if I explained where, but it's okay. The witch has used a positive heart. That allows players to add their lore craft to the first check. The second check will remain normal. The witch's advice is use 2 different crafts and stick to simple spells.
Okay. Now, are we doing 2 separate checks then ultimately, or are we doing?
Yep. So
Okay.
you'll have to decide what 2 spells you'll write up, but each check will essentially be each spell.
Okay. Gotcha.
Now I have
Alright.
to think.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot this whole thing. When you complete a check, you gain a heart.
Oh.
So we
Okay.
have a heart.
So on the first check, you guys got a heart. At the end of the round, the witch gets a heart. So the witch
Okay.
has expended her heart uh, in a positive way to get you to add your lore craft. But you can expend hearts as positives or negatives to either add 1 die to your check, or to reduce the required number by 1 down to 2.
Okay. Gotcha.
And you have to expend that before making the check. But you have that option throughout the entire rest of the session.
Okay. Hearts. Alright. I got 1. Alright. So we're doing okay. Let's do a simple spell. What do I want to do?
Alright, does anyone have some spells they would like to write into a spell card?
Not offhand.
I'm going to say Mercy's gonna try to I'll lean on Songcraft for this. And she's going to try to put onto a card like a um let's say it's just a spell to create like a small little bit of like water, like a bucket full of water, if that would work.
Okay. And then what is your second spell?
The second spell. Let's do what's her other stuff? Um, let's say go with Toolcraft for that one. Could she do something of like making a broom like temporarily come to life and clean or
Yeah, portable enchantment.
Totally.
okay.
Absolutely. So which one would you like to add your lorecraft to?
My wait, Lorecraft or
Yeah.
what?
So the witch has invoked a positive heart under a special
Oh, that's
circumstance.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I will add that one to the Toolcraft one
okay.
since that's level one, and then I have two in Songcraft.
Perfect. All right. You have followed the witch's advice, and um, I don't know if you want to try to roleplay what you're doing, but you're sitting in class.
Um,
Eshra's on at the board, guiding you all through the process. Uh,
um, yeah, I was gonna say she'd mostly be like kind of asking for help here and there, and then I don't know if there's any kind of magical text around. Um, but if there were, she would be like grabbing those to try and like look for whatever information she can as she draws out her cards. So,
perfect. All right. Yeah, we can go grab a book from the library if you need.
okay,
There is a beginner's guide to inscription in there. Yeah.
all right.
The cool thing about spell cards is that the entire process is essentially casting the spell, but instead of gaining its effects, you're casting the spell into the card, and then you have to write a kind of magical formula to seal that spell into the card for later use.
Uh,
So yeah, you role played it out. You followed the witch's advice. Two different spells, two different crafts sound like simple spells. So give me your songcraft plus two.
okay. So slash R, and that is going to be 4 dice. Yep, yep. At some point, I'm going to get it right. There we go. There. Yeah. I was gonna say, what do you need for a success?
Right, so we're in round two, which means you need two successes and a four or
Oh,
greater succeeds.
oh, you got
All
one.
right. So I only got, yeah, I only got one. So,
So there are two things we could do here. The first is you could use your magical skill. The second is you could fail
oh,
the craft.
yeah, I actually, so I have, yeah, come forth a miracle. After you make a check, choose one of the dice you rolled and turn it upside down. So if I flipped one of the ones, that would make them a six,
Yep.
or it should if they're a balanced die.
Yes,
Um,
that we're considering that.
okay. So yeah, so I'll flip one of those ones into a six, and then
Yay!
All right,
um,
awesome. So you have succeeded the first check, in which you have sung into the card an ability to generate some water.
And I'm gonna say at first, like it's not working, and then she kind of takes a moment to like almost like a prayer, and then it like takes effect. Just
Just
so
needed
that
that
kind of
second
represents the
him in
magical
there.
skill. Like,
You got this.
Yeah, just inscribe the
nothing.
sub hymn. That works. Perfect. All
um,
right, you have completed that check. I'm gonna give you a second heart,
okay.
and now you have to make the third check, which is also going to be two successes. I believe you're using
Okay.
Toolcraft. You've already roleplayed it out.
Yes.
So that's your Toolcraft plus your Lorecraft plus two. And you can use any hearts before the check if you want to make sure.
Um, I will use yeah, I will go ahead and use one of those hearts. So
Would you like to use it in a
that's gonna
positive
be
or negative light?
I'm gonna use it as a positive,
All
which that
right.
adds a die.
Yep.
Okay. And that will be 5 altogether.
A
Um
six is two successes.
Oh yeah, that's right. It does count as 2.
Yep.
Okay.
So you just succeeded the second check as well, and have inscribed a broom enchantment into a second card, which is great.
Yay!
I'm gonna say it has a goofy little doodle on it too. For
Yeah, absolutely. So
Rosalie
yeah,
looks over.
uh,
That's cute.
that is one of the great things about spell cards is that, some of the inscription process is necessary, but the picture in the middle really just tells you what the card is. So it can be whatever you want it to be.
it's a very like Fantasia walking broom kind of doodle, but not looking nearly as good as the Disney animators did.
So for making your third check, you're going to get another heart.
All right.
So you're back to two, if I'm correct
Yep.
about that.
Yeah.
And you have succeeded in crafting your two spell cards.
Woo.
Now, Rosalie, have you thought about what spells you want to do?
um, because of where she's living, thought maybe one would be like keeping the snow, rain, whatever off of you, keeping
Okay.
you dry and warm.
Yeah.
Even though my lamp kind of my lantern kind of helps with that, but it doesn't keep the snow off.
Mm-hmm. All right. And what craft would you be using for that?
um, well, this is going to be
I could see a lot of ways you could do
yeah.
this.
It's like lorecraft. I could see toolcraft.
Summon, song,
Any of the above.
basically any of them.
Just gotta figure out how I'm gonna do that. Um, do songcraft.
All right. Songcraft.
Basically, kind of singing as I'm scribing. Something
Right.
along the lines like "Rain, rain, go away." Da da
I'm
da da da.
gonna just title this Magical Blanket. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm just
Okay.
writing this down so that I know like what the spell is. And for your second spell,
um, probably like let's see, drying things out because we have someone who likes to track snow in and not bother with anything else.
Okay.
So something to like keep the carpet, or just clean up the water.
Right, so some sort of like cleanup spell.
Yep. Okay.
All right, and what craft do you want to use for that?
Hmm. I could see housecraft because you could quote unquote um treat the surfaces.
Okay, so you're talking about like a house cleanup thing.
Yeah.
Perfect. That totally fits under housecraft. Um, I want to call it
Wait, you're
spill
gonna
cleanup just so I know what it is.
do what? Would you?
I'm just I'm just writing like what I think the effects of the spell are. So like I create water and portable enchantment for Mercy, and I have magical blanket and spill cleanup for you. You can name it
I love
whatever
it.
you want, but like I'm
I love
just
it.
summarizing in my
Cracks
notes.
me up.
Yeah, so you follow the witch's advice, two simple spells of different crafts. Would you like to roleplay how you're going to go about it? And second, which spell would you like to add your lore craft to the check?
Mm, probably the sec.
The housecraft one?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, we're kind of singing as we're drawing,
Sure.
and the lamp, it's star shaped. Lantern is star shaped.
Hmm.
That she came in with it. There's something inside it you can kind of see move around. There's a sprite in there.
Okay.
Um, which I guess means nothing, but it's just kind of singing and muttering and carrying on and humming to herself as she draws.
Having a fun old time in your own world?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
With no one to be like be horrible to her.
I I think Eshra might actually just like interrupt you every once in a while to be like, "Hey, you need to write this here, please. If you don't, it's gonna explode."
Thank you. I will thank her very.
Explosions. Explosions are part of the process.
They are.
Setsuna.
All right, so give me your songcraft plus two and invoke any hearts if you would like to.
So my songcraft is a 2,
Okay.
and then so total of 4.
Yeah.
Come on, Alicia. R4D. Oops. Oh no! A one
That
success.
is one success, and you need two.
Uh,
All right, what is your magical skill?
Either I have let's do it together or come forth with me. The only reason I have 2 is because
Right.
I, yeah,
What is let's do it together do?
it gives me a heart.
Okay, so
Come forth,
if
O
you
miracle.
yeah, if you use let's do it together, it doesn't do anything for you here, but come forth from
Right.
miracle can cause you to pass this check unless you want to fail it.
Uh, doesn't matter. Come forth, O miracle. Why not? will
All
invoke
right.
my skill.
Yeah. So I'm just saying you're flipping the 2 to a 5, and that's another success, and that's a pass.
Yay!
So you have
Ooh.
written out your spell card, gotten a little bit too carried away with not paying attention to Escher's instructions, but your enthusiasm in singing has caused you to make up for the mistake in some other way, which is hilarious to her because you usually don't make two mistakes and fail upwards.
Right.
Real talk, I have a friend that does that all the time. It's hilarious. But Escher didn't expect that, and it was really interesting to see. You write a spell card outside of the standard instructions and still have it work out. Or at least she thinks it's going to work.
We hope.
You won't know until you use it. But from what you can tell, it'll work. And I'll give you a second heart for that, because that is your second check that you have made.
You
And
did so
now
good.
you need to
I did the
did
thing!
it the thing. And now we will do your third check, which is still in round 2, which is the Housecraft plus Lorecraft spell.
So Housecraft is 2, Lorecraft is 2.
So add those together. You're still getting +1 for following the Witch's advice, because the Witch's
So
advice was 2
5.
different spells with 2 different crafts. And you get +1 for roleplay, because you've still been roleplaying this.
4, 66.
And feel free to invoke hearts if you feel like it's necessary.
No.
No.
It's not.
5 successes. Wonderful. So after that first almost mess up,
I failed up.
you you think you've got the pattern down, and your second spell card went off without a hitch. Uh, you'll gain another heart, and we'll move on to uh,
I'm just gonna add in that
Nice.
Mercy, like as the second one happens, is just like staring on in awe.
It's like, I don't know. I failed upwards.
I got ahead of myself when I said it. We'll move on to. It was like, wait, what's the next on my sheet? Lovely work, you two. You can leave your bags up on the front. For our next task, we'll be going outside.
In the sunshine?
Out in the sunshine.
It'll be so nice. It'll be
Okay.
warm, actually.
You gotta
Not
touch grass.
cold.
You will be. So Eshra leads you all outside to an open field. It's literally right next to the school building, so it's not much of a walk. Evoking spell
Alright.
cards can be tricky the first time, so for safety's sake, we'll be doing this here, so I don't have to repair an entire room again. Pay close
Again?
attention. She says that she holds a spell card in one hand. Spell card. World of our own. With a burst of energy and a flash of light, the card in her hand disappears, and you notice a clear dome now surrounds you all. Using a spell card requires the user to do a few things. Energize the spell in order to activate it, focus the spell at its target, and direct its energies correctly. You're essentially casting the spell without its cost, so any sub-spells or instructions must still be followed in order. With more difficult spell cards, such as the one I just used, declaring the spell card as an incantation is useful in preventing any errors in the process. Not only does this hone your mind to the spell you are about to cast, but part of the semantics of the inscription process allow for a spell card to respond positively to its name. It would be wise of you to do the same until you get the hang of it. She once more picks up her deck of spell cards, taking 2 out this time, one of which she throws onto the ground, from which a lawn chair and umbrella appear out of nowhere. She takes a seat, twirling the second card in her hand before it transforms into a cup of coffee. This barrier should be strong enough to withstand anything you can throw at it, so go ahead and pick one of your spell cards to use.
Alright.
Sorry, she's so extra.
I feel like she
All
needs
right.
a tropical drink, not a cup of coffee.
She likes coffee.
It's fantastic.
Alright. So, check number 3 for you all. Eshra has used a negative heart, the fixing the whole room thing, to reduce the TN of the check to 3. Her advice is declare your spell card.
Okay. All right. You mind if I go first?
Go ahead.
All right. So Mercy's going to very confidently stride out to the center of the area. She's going to hold up the water one. And she's going to say, what do I want to call it? Um, Sorry, I'm trying to think of a name for like what she would call it.
Don't want to. This is
Um,
the kind of stuff that I like making people do. Is just, what are you gonna name your thing?
Uh,
um, what could I call it? Big gulp.
Wonderful.
big old drink.
Yeah, uh, she's gonna hold it up and go, uh, um, lot of water. It's like just uncomplicated. And then she is going to attempt to summon that water using the card.
All
Um,
right.
so would that be Songcraft?
So there's a lot of different ways that I could see for picking a craft here, and I don't care which way you go for it. Uh, you could say lorecraft because spell cards are inherently lorecraft. Uh, you could say songcraft because that's the craft you use to cast the spell. You could say summoncraft because you're invoking. I don't, whatever you want to say
Yeah.
is fine by me as long as you
Uh,
explain it.
yeah, we're gonna go with Lorecraft because of invoking the card.
Sure.
Um, and then
I will say
okay,
this is your last check, so if you have any hearts, feel free to use them.
yeah, I will use um, I will use one of the hearts from the previous round.
I think you have 2 left over. They carry
Uh,
over, but if you use them, you don't have them. So,
yeah,
yeah, perfect.
I'm gonna use one of those to add a die,
Hmm.
so positive. Um, and then Lorecrafts is a 1. And do I get the ones for the advice in the role play
Yep.
or
Technically
okay.
speaking, in this check, they're kind of the same thing, in my opinion, but like, absolutely, you did both.
Okay. So that's gonna be 4 die.
You're looking for 3 successes, and the target number is 3 right now.
3. Okay. Uh that is a nope. Unless I can I use my magical skill again or is
You
that
can only use it once.
once? Okay.
It's alright.
Now then that is a nope. But okay, so failed checks.
Yes, and now we're gonna get into the bad stuff.
Bring it. I'm excited.
At
All
least you
right.
didn't hurt yourself.
I'm gonna roll us a d6. Alright, so you have landed on fatigue. Magic can take a lot out of you. Trying too hard to overcome the witch's challenge when unused to such effort may well leave you dizzy on the ground. So in this context, I think the reasonable approach is that you spent too much energy attempting to invoke the spell card, Um, Whereas you kind of just need a spark, and the magic will take care of itself because you've already cast the spell. You are attempting to cast the spell again, and that can be taxing, especially for a witch who isn't used to wizardry.
Overshoot
Yep.
it.
So you managed to invoke the spell card, but you put a little bit too much power on it and causes you to collapse onto the ground. Luckily, the ground is soft, so no problems there. But you need a minute before you can pick yourself back up.
I'll go over and check on her. You're okay, right?
Ashford glances in your
Yeah.
direction, but you show signs of life, so you're probably fine.
Yeah, Mercy very confidently like calls out the name and like throws up her hands and then gets dizzy and like falls over. Like, falls over. Like,
I'm
And then it's
okay.
like, oh no, are you okay? I'm like, I'm sure you're fine, but
Just tuckered out, it seems.
I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy.
She's gonna take out another card and throw it in your direction, and an umbrella spawns over you so that you don't stare in the sun.
Okay.
meanwhile I'm going, do I have? I'll pull off my hood, even though, yeah. And it's like, here's a pillow.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
It's soft. Okay.
Oh. So now Mercy's laying in the grass with a pillow and an umbrella.
She's very comfy, can take a little nap.
But there is a bucket of
Yep.
water next to you with too much water in it, so it has spilled over a little bit.
I was planning on using the spill cleanup spell and hopefully
Yeah, absolutely.
like spill cleanup spell.
Oh man.
Okay. So I said that was housecraft.
Yeah. I don't know what you actually have named it, but go ahead. Invoke your spell card.
Sorry. um. Sorry, laughing at my name that I.
No worries.
This is so bad. Screwed up going with it. ShamWow!
Yes.
I'm going with
Okay.
it. So yeah,
That's fine.
basically has the card and tosses it at the bucket, yelling ShamWow! I hate myself.
It's
Oh
great. I
no, it's
love it.
wonderful.
Because I can't remember. My dad used to like have like it was a chamois. That's what it was to when you dry the car off. Anyway,
Hmm.
Well, the
so
Sham Wow was named that because it was a chamois.
Yep.
exactly. So you want me to roll?
All right. So yes, what craft are you going to be using?
uh, this would be housecraft because I'm cleaning up a spill.
Yeah. Okay. You could use the craft of the spell. It works completely. Uh, I'm
Wood
giving you
warcraft.
+1 for roleplay, +1 for following the witch's advice, and would you like to invoke any hearts? I believe you're
Because
sitting
I
on
need
3.
I need a
You
3.
need 3 successes at 3 or greater.
Okay. Yeah, I'll burn a heart.
All right. Would you
So
like to use a positive or a negative heart?
positive.
All right.
So that's 2, 5.
Yes.
I succeed
I see
for 4
4
successes.
successes. You needed 3. Wonderful. So you invoke your
Woo.
spell card. You even throw it at the bucket to direct the energy correctly, which is a form of directing the energy. Turns out. You've seen Eshra do it.
I learned by
I learned it from watching
wow.
you. I learned it.
You. I learned it from
And the bucket
drugs.
and surrounding area become clean after a short time. But you leave the water in the bucket, which is nice because that's what the spell's intended to do.
Yes. Clean up the mess around the bucket.
Exactly. And you have invoked your spell card. Congratulations, witches, you have completed the entire mission. All of them.
Yay.
Yay! She says with like a yawn. Like a
I think it's
yawn.
nap time for her.
After everyone finishes, Eshra gets up from her chair with a simple motion. The barriers lifted, the chair, the coffee, the extra umbrella, and even the bucket are gone.
Should we- All I can hear like imagine is Mercy whining because it's bright. Anyway,
Well done, class. That's about all for today. You can keep your other spell card. This is merely the basics of composition. Maybe another time we can go into more advanced spells.
I want to learn all the spells.
I'm sure you will. We'll learn all the spells.
You might want to get up, Mercy. Do you need help?
Yeah.
We'll help her up, and I'll take my cloak back.
She like kind of like brushes herself off from the grass and everything.
You're free to go.
Thank you.
That was the entirety of today's lesson.
All right.
Guess we could go into town and explore.
I'm gonna go home and take a nap.
That sounds like a plan. Do you need help getting back to your home?
No, my parents will pick me up.
Okie dokie.
All right.
And then she sighs like, I gotta go back up the mountain.
Oh, do you now? That's rough.
But I think instead, I'm gonna go. I don't know. Do something else other than go up the mountain because I don't want to.
Oh.
All right. So, witches, now it is time to level up, or to
All
go
right.
through all the ending actually, because there's some other stuff. So, describe the ending of the scenario as written down. Already done that. Act out your apprentices finishing their training, celebrating their own growth, saying what they thought of the challenges, and or any other concluding roleplay. Unless anyone has other roleplay to add, we can move on. I don't know if anyone wants to have closing words, or if we already did that.
I would just say like eventually, a lady in a carriage shows up and picks up Mercy.
Yeah. It should be about that time. You guys spent quite a bit of time on the inscription process, so the day is
Yep.
no longer young.
All right. Yeah, that's all I can think to add. So.
All right. So, leveling up. At the end of each session, every apprentice gains 2 levels in their crafts. 1 level is chosen by the witch. It should be that which, from their perspective, is. Oh my god. It should be that which, from their perspective, is the craft that the apprentice would have improved the most in during the session. So, for Mercy,
Yes.
I think we're probably saying Lorecraft for you.
Okay.
And for Rosalie, I'm gonna say most likely Potioncraft.
Woohoo, I actually gained potion craft. I did not have it.
because you did you invoke potion craft when you were making the stew? I forget. Either way, that's
It
how we're
was
gonna talk about it.
housecraft.
It was housecraft.
But
We're gonna say potion. You learned some potion craft making the stew.
okay.
Um, because while it turns out in the Witchen there were just like pots and everything, there were also some decanters and whatnot that witches used for potion craft that you could also use for the stew that ended up helping it out.
Bless you.
All right.
Secondly, each of you gain a level randomly. Roll a d6.
Okay. That is going to be.
A 3 is potion craft, and a
Woo!
6 is housecraft.
That puts me at level 3 for I'm maxed at housecraft.
Right. So your maximum is level 3. So if you were already level 3, you get to get a random other level instead, or you get to choose what another level instead. If you were not level 3, you gain one level in that class.
All right. Mercy is at 3 for potion craft.
Woo!
Now we get to talk about EXP, which really only matters for uh, gaining magical skills.
Okay.
Did you participate in the whole session? Yes, that's 1 XP. Did you succeed
I
at a
believe so.
check? Number of checks you succeeded times 1 XP. So that is, there were 4 checks this time. Uh, Rosalie succeeded in all 4. I believe Mercy succeeded in 3, so that's 3 and 4.
Yes.
Did you follow the witch's advice at least once when making a check? 1 XP. I'm gonna say you all did. Did you not follow the witch's advice when making a check at least once? Unless this matters, you didn't, but we'll come back to that because my witch's advice is a little different. Did you use a
Okay.
magical skill at least once? 1 XP. Yep.
Yep.
Were you praised by the witch during the reflection phase? There's a reflection phase? Did I miss the reflection phase?
Oh, yeah. We're supposed to kind of. I think it's like you kind of recap the.
Oh, sorry, that was
Uh,
the
yeah.
post scene that we did. So
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Yeah. Which
uh,
praises their efforts consists of 2 segments, mostly independent. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna say yes, and that was part of the last little conversation we had. So both of you got 1 for that. So if you total up and you got 7 or more, then you get a magical skill.
Okay,
All
so
right.
I should have 8, and Mercy should have
I.
7?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So you
Alright,
got a
whatever.
magical skill. So just
Pick another
choose one
skill.
of the magical skills. It doesn't have to be of any craft you have, or at level 2 or even. It's just any magical skill that you don't have, and you now have access to that magical skill.
Okay. That is going to be. Those are back. So it'd be nice if the book was hyperlinked and stuff.
It will be
We'll
eventually.
get there. It'll
Eventually,
get
yeah,
there.
I know. It's still the beta version. It's still got some of the mistakes and stuff.
And lastly, and this is kind of a group activity, is write down an important memory. After everyone's done reflecting, you should choose the most impactful heart you acquired during the session, which is essentially just the result of a check, and write it down in the memory section of your character sheet.
Okay.
And the idea for that is in future sessions with the same Witcher apprentice, and if the GM permits it, you can call upon one of your important memories as a heart during those sessions.
All right. Well, I am gonna take for my magical skill. I'm gonna take Eureka.
Same.
Um, So then so we'll write down one memory that's based off of something that happened.
The most impactful moment from today's session to your character.
Okay. I'm gonna say I'm actually gonna say the failure of
That was mine when I did mine too.
Learning not to overdo it.
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm gonna put in using too much energy to invoking the spell card. Uh, Learning some restraint.
Too much enthusiasm on this one.
What from her? Yes, I put using too much energy invoking the spell card. Learn some restraint.
Perfect.
Some restraint.
And
All
for
right.
Yuki,
Mm, probably failing up.
that was a good moment.
Failing up. Failing up. I'll just put failing up.
My
Wonderful.
doggy's sleeping here, and she's so cute.
Oh.
Mine
And
is hidden back in her under my coffee table in a blanket.
I believe with that we have concluded everything in the session.